today we're continuing our journey. I don't know why I always say that. I'm looking at every Arkham City story of part 1. Hopefully we'll finish it this episode, but we might not. So let's get started. We have Aaron Cash's story. Aaron Cash recalled the night back at Arkham Asylum when watching from a security monitor. He saw Quincy Sharp scrawl an elaborate message on the floor of the cell block control room, using a rusty nail and blood from his fingertips before forcing his way out of the cell, to only to disappear into the chaos. He didn't know where Sharp had gone, but he was sure that he was something seriously wrong with the future mayor of Gotham City. With no other career options available, and a nagging feeling that he had seen Hugo Strange before, he reluctantly accepted the job of running a small medical team charged with providing assistance to any resident of Arkham City who needed it. So pretty much these are just short stories. Some have multiple parts, like the Sick Plan. There's 3 parts of these. And it's just short other stories and lore, you know. Then we have the Abramovich twins. Andrei and Abramovich was a respected man in the small Siberian village where he lived with his pregnant wife. When word reached Andrea that his wife was in labor, he rushed home excited to be at her side. But he only met with only the midwife. His wife had not survived the birth complications due to the special nature of his newborn sons were to blame. Pushing into the room, he found his 2 sons, joined at the shoulders, screaming for their mother. He took the twins and left town. Crying, he stood at the bridge over the freezing cold river and contemplated throwing them to their deaths. But he could not do it, leaving his sons outside the tent of a traveling freak show. Andrei returned home to his village a broken man. The Abramovich twins, part 1. The Joker heard tales of the conjoined Abramovich twins, now widely known as Hammer and Sickle, and their reputation for brutality, and he wanted them for himself. Sending Harley on a desperate mission to retrieve them, she passed on the message to the circus owner that her puddin' would pay big for the twins. Of course, the owner refused to sell his headline act, so she promptly vanished, only to be found 3 months later with a new smile carved on her face. We have Arkham Island sold. Once the decision to create Arkham City had been approved, Mayor Sharp ordered that Arkham Island to be put up for sale. In a press conference, he claimed this fantastic revenue opportunity for Gotham City. Although a number of prominent Gotham companies entered bids for the land, the winning bid came from a previously unknown security company named Tiger. Within weeks of the sale, Tiger was also awarded the contract of police Arkham City and instantly began using the island to launch its fleet of helicopters, gunships to patrol the new prison facility. Arkham City's medical team. Cash chose the abandoned church building near the Solomon Wayne courthouse to situate his medical team, and knowing Strange was only providing the minimal amount of medical assistance to placate those campaigning against Arkham City, Cash was forced to beg his equipment and additional medical supplies. The first donations came from Bruce Wayne himself, who supplied a series of security shutters to keep people within the building safe, along with cutting-edge body armor and supplies. On hearing about Wayne's donation, Strange was furious and locked down all supply routes between the medical team and the outside world. Hugo Strange storage vault. On the perimeter wall of Arkham City is Tiger's confiscated goods vault. This high-security facility houses all the items confiscated from criminals upon their admission to the prison. The special vault is used to protect equipment and ill-gotten gains of various super criminals, and it's guarded 24/7 by a squad of Tiger guards. Upon her arrest, Hugo Strange placed all Catwoman's belongings there, and she vowed to get them back and leave Arkham City for good. They have seismic disturbances. Just weeks before Arkham City was due to open for business, the streets, road, and the northeast of the facility were devastated by a series of unexplained seismic activities. The large-scale subsidence left the street-level entire district submerged underwater. Campaigners opposed to Hugo Strange's super prison demand further investigation to the cause of the disturbances, arguing that this was further proof the area was unsit under basic humanitarian grounds. However, Strange vetoed plans for an inquiry on this land. He provided his own experience to determine that the seismic activity was a one-off event and maintained that the inmates had given up their rights at any decent standard of living. Compulsory purchase. Upon becoming Mayor, Quincy Sharp presented Gotham City with his plan to create a super prison in the north of the city, claiming that the site was selected because it contained extreme areas of social decay and neglect. When Bruce Wayne spoke out at the consultation meeting, hearing the mayor pointed out that his location was where Wayne's parents had been murdered decades before. The council passed the motion to create Arkham City and set about issuing imminent domain seizures, allowing it to purchase all the land within the South's walls. And the setting the bat. Hugo Strange's obsession with Bruce Wayne and Batman was unbearable. He needed to know every small detail of how this man functioned to understand exactly what made him tick, so that he could finally destroy him. Strange manipulated the mayor into allowing squads of Tiger officers to be deployed into Gotham City, under the pretense of aiding police. However, unknown to the people of Gotham, the Tiger Guards has only one target, the Batman. Strange knew his men would initially fall, but he studied every detail meticulously, analyzing the techniques and strategies of opponents. It'd be only a matter of time he had necessary data to defeat the Batman. Open for business. Mayor Quincy Sharp looked proud as he addressed Gotham on this night that Gotham City officially opened for business. As he introduced Hugo Strange to the massive journalist, he felt sure that the hard work and sacrifice had been worth it. He could barely believe that he achieved so much in the 18 months the events on Arkham Island. As the champagne bottle smashed against the wall, Strange whispered to him that he would soon have Catwoman and Two-Face arrested and put into his prison. Quincy smiled with Arkham City's construction complete, and he was guaranteed the approval of the city. With all the supervillains in his custody, their next target would be Batman, the person he blamed for everything. Wait, it's kind of weird. It seems like Quincy Sharp was like mad at Batman. It's talking about Quincy Sharp's point of view. It's Quincy Sharp, so he goes. Anyways, Bane. After being hit by the Batmobile and knocked to the dark water surrounding Arkham Island, Bane swam to shore, but was quickly recaptured and taken to the asylum. Weakened by his injuries and the experiments performed upon him by Dr. Young, he patiently waited and plotted his revenge. Forced into keeping a low profile as he recovered, Bane searched Arkham City for a suitable location to act as a hideout and found just what he needed in the form of the Crank Toys building. There, surrounded by toys, he waited, recuperating until the time was right to make his move. Hide on the streets. Having no love for his fellow prisoners in Arkham City, Bane set up a presided over an underground fighting contest where inmates fought in vain for the privilege of trying to take him down. Word of these fights spread through Arkham, and the Joker sent Bane a little surprise as Bane moved in for the kill, as the Joker's henchman triggered a Titan injection that ripped through his body, transforming into a monstrous Titan. Wait, what? That ripped through his body. Barely survived the fight, Bane had new problems, so a Titan found its way into Arkham City, and then it was up to him to stop it from falling into the wrong hands. Let's be there, I don't get it. Black Mask. Roma Siotis, aka Black Mask, is the first and only inmate to have escaped from Arkham City. Using explosives stolen from the Penguin, he waited until the Tiger's shift had changed, blasted his way through the containment wall, and went on run in Gotham City. Furious, Hugo Strange ordered his Tiger officers into the streets to focus all their attention on finding Black Mask, who was finally recaptured after a violent siege at the meatpacking plant he owned. Premising that no one else would ever escape again, Strange fitted a series of automated machinery guns on the walls of the Arkham City, designed to kill anyone who else dared to try. Close Arkham City. Because Hugo Strange was revealed at the public face of Arkham City, Batman attempted to uncover any information he could about the history of this mysterious figure. Convinced that nothing in Arkham City was what it seemed to be, Batman dug deeper and deeper, but he came up blank. As if it was all evidence that Strange had been wiped clean, one thing was certain, however: Strange could not have done this alone. Batman was determined to ensure that the sight of his parents' death would not become a monument to Gotham's failure, and dedicated himself to shutting down Arkham City. Calendar Man. Julian Day, aka Calendar Man, had been locked in his cell at Arkham Asylum for a full year when he was moved to Arkham City. Unable to celebrate the passing holidays in his own imitable style, he could do nothing more than just imagine what he could have done if he were free. In Arkham City quickly found the Solomon Wayne courthouse and claimed it as if it was his own. Anyone who dared come in was overpowered and taken away. Anyone who dared come in was overpowered and taken to a cell where he remained until the next. They remained until the next holiday, when Ray would kill them. Okay. It was all going well until the Two-Face arrived with a small army and took the courthouse for himself, locking Day up in a cell. Clayface. Basil Carlo, aka Clayface, uses his abilities to mimic the exact appearance of anyone to impersonate Quincy Sharp and escape from Arkham Asylum. On the run in Gotham City, Clayface has been forced to constantly change his appearance in order to stay one step ahead of Hugo Strange and his guards. His current whereabouts are unknown. Still, they probably couldn't keep Clayface in that prison. The Falcones are America's oldest running crime family. Generation after generation has ruled underworld its iron fists, preferring to stay away from more colorful supervillain activities to maintain a legitimate business interests, including garbage collection and shipping companies. The current head of the family, Carmine the Roman, Falcone is feared by all. Until recently, had the city in his pockets, something has changed. Quincy Sharp, the newly elected mayor, and a man who should be afraid of him, was not. Carmine attempts to intimidate Sharp had resulted in his henchman mysteriously disappearing, and Sharp had struck back with the Tiger Guards closing down Falcone's operations all over the city. Family business. As Hugo Strange Tiger Guards group on the city's tightened, a Falcone family meeting was held. The choice is simple: stay in Gotham and face arrest and imprisonment in Arkham City, or leave. The younger members of the family argued that the Falcones run from no one, but in the end it was the Romans' choice. The next day, the entire family packed up and left Gotham, heading towards relatively safety of Bloodhaven. A Sick Plan, Part 1 of 3. After Batman stopped him from escaping Arkham Asylum, the Joker sat alone in his padded cell, knowing something was wrong. The first sign of an unusual lump on his shoulder, he felt tainted. Weeks went by, and 10 more unusual lumps appeared. The time had done something to him, something bad, something that wasn't funny at all. The Sick Plan, Part 2 of 3. The Joker was dying. He knew it, and soon so would anyone who saw him. The last thing he needed was to appear weak before his rivals. So one day at lunch, the Joker took a spoon and dug out another inmate's eye, knowing this would get him solitary confinement so he could keep out of sight, at least until he was transferred to Arkham City. The Joker needed an escape plan. On one night of his travel, Harley Quinn provided one. Disguised as an Arkham guard, he overpowered the Joker's escorts and stole her, putting away to a boat waiting on the island's quayside. Sick Plan 3 of 3. As the boat carrying the twisted pair sped off Gotham, it was joined by a second. A secret alarm placed by Batman had alerted the Joker to escape, and here he was in the Batboat pursuing the fugitives. They ignored his orders to stop, so the Batman opened fire. As Harley steered the boat to shore, missiles ripped the hull to pieces. They swam, the weakened Joker being pulled through the water by a distraught Harley, desperate to save her pudding. She pulled the Joker out of the water to safety, somehow avoiding Batman's searchlight. She and the Joker sat there gasping for breath, but when they suddenly realized that they were in Arkham City. We have strange goings on. Working at Arkham Asylum, Professor Strange uses a series of complicated psychological profiling techniques to identify the man behind Batman's mask as Bruce Wayne. Planning to become both rich and famous, he plotted to sell the secrets of Batman's identity to the highest bidder. Word spread throughout the criminal underworld that Batman's scariest secret was for sale, but before anyone could act on it, Hugo Strange vanished. Pretty much like the animated series episode. With Hugo Strange's experiments. Didn't we look at this exact thing? I could have sworn wait, what? Oh, this is the confiscated good. This is the behavioral casino. Okay. Now in charge of Arkham City, Strange continues his radical experiments into the workings of the human mind. During processing, Strange personally selects inmates that fits his criteria and has them taken away to the inmate's behavioral analysis unit. No one knows what happens to the missing prisoners in the room except Strange himself. Sometimes they emerge lobotomized to roam the streets, but more often they are never heard from again. Some people believe that Strange brainwashes the missing thugs and turns them into his Tiger Guards, whereas others believe he has dealt with the Penguin and pans them to use as target practice. We then have Gordon versus Sharp, 1 of 2. As the plan for Arkham City became public knowledge, Commissioner Gordon insists on not having consulted over Sharp's assistant and attempted to block construction with a court order. He failed. The Commissioner called on Batman and explained that he suspected corruption at the highest levels of Sharp's administration. For Sharp, 2 of 2. After losing his case against Mayor Sharp, Gordon was summoned to City Hall. Sharp tried to reason with Gordon, explained that Batgirl City would be something that they could both be proud of, but Gordon held his ground. Sharp calmly stated that he understood Gordon's position and expected Gordon to quietly resign. Furious, Gordon stormed out. He might have resigned if he had talked out of it. Talked out by Batman. Batman suggested attacking Mayor Sharp in Arkham City with a public campaign, headed up by Gordon, as someone with money and profile needed to win popular support, someone like Bruce Wayne. Holding Grudges, Part 1 of 3. Soon after his arrival in Gotham City, the Penguin decided to make an impression on the underworld elite with a gala opening for his nightclub, the Iceberg Lounge. He included the notorious Joker, whose appearance would surely impress the crowds. Wait. Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't really make any sense, but it kind of does, timeline-wise. When the Joker arrived, Harley Quinn on his arms, and a dainty flower in his lapel, the Penguin was thrilled. He was hosting the sinister soiree of the century until a clumsy waitress spilled a drink on the Joker. The laughing Joker ate his flower, and acid sprays melted the girl's face. As alarmed patrons filled the scene, a cold, dark rage of the Joker curled inside Penguin. Linger's Part 2 of 3. The Joker eagerly returned to the Iceberg Lounge a few weeks later, but was insulted to find his name was not on the guest list. Willing to overlook this mistake, he shot the doorman on his way in, kicking his feet up at the table and ordered a glass of warm milk. He was pleased when alongside milk was a summons to the club's VIP section. It led to a black room past a tank where the shark was held. The Joker happily greeted the Penguin, who promptly pushed him out of a door onto the street. The Penguin squawked out that the club had a new no clowns policy before slamming the door. Holding Grudge, 3 of 3. After arriving at Arkham City, the Joker and Harley Quinn were eager to explore their new stomping ground. Reflecting that years had passed since the Penguin had banned Joker from the club, they saw the blue neon lights of the Iceberg Lounge. Harley pounded on the door, certain that Cobblepot would let bygones be bygones. The Penguin answered, a hulking guard at his side, and immediately reminded them of his no clown policy. He just managed to close the door before the acid of Joker's flowers shot his face. Oh wow. Something was scattered. A killer in the sewers. In order to remove Waylon Jones, aka Killer Croc, from the sewers below Arkham Asylum, Strange orders a squad of tiger guards to lure him out, using body parts from deceased inmates. Although the strategy proved unsuccessful, the team was able to subdue Croc when he emerged from the sewers looking for food once the supply of bodies had run out. Mad Hatter, 1 of 2. Disgusted at the crime service touched him in the guise of the Mad Hatter, Quincy Sharp decreed that Ted should never see the outside world again. For months, Ted locked up in solitary confinement deep in the bowels of Arkham Asylum. Maximum security wings locked up in the dark without his hats. He, and most importantly, his Alice. Ted's mind crumbled. Professor Hugo Strange became fascinated by Ted's case, taking particular interest in Ted's mind control experiments. Strange manipulated security procedures, allowing him full access to Ted's behind the warden's back. Mad Hatter, Part 2 of 2. If Hugo Strange's plans were going to work, he needed a way to control Quincy Sharp. Having worked with Ted for months, he had refined and perfected a psychoactive compound that would make anyone who ingested it more malleable and open to suggestion. The next day, Strange invited Sharp to join him for tea at his office in the administration building. Which building was the administration building? That was the... was that just the Doc Tops? But I don't even remember what the administration building was. It talks about it, doesn't it? It's in the game. Oh well. The Maroney family. The Maroney family has long been at war with their arch rivals, the Falcones, a constant game of one-upsmanship. Each family has been hurt. Sons and daughters have been killed. Businesses have been burnt to the ground, and still it goes on. Determined to win the war once and for all, the Maroneys met in their family restaurant, talked into the night. Though they know as they talked, they were surrounded by Carmine's Falcone's men, who opened fire, killing almost everyone within. Their leadership's gone. The surviving Maroons have been all incarcerated in Arkham City. Interesting. But that finishes all these stories. They're very interesting little side stories, and they have some very cool little things about what happens. It makes you learn a lot more about the characters, maybe even respect them. And then next episode, I will do the rest of these in part 2. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Ciao.